Welcome to V-Land, your bet sports betting show. 10 games in the NBA here on Monday night. We had a decent weekend, went 500 over the weekend, looking at over 4 units still on the season in the young season here, so feeling good. Going to be going through 7 player prop projections and best bets that I have here for tonight's big slate. If that all sounds good, go ahead and give the video a like. Let's get right into it. Starting with Chris Paul, but want to remind everyone, we're going live every day now, 5:30 p.m. Eastern during the weekdays. You guys jump in the comments of the live show, bring your bets. I go ahead and go through everything that you want to look at, showing you the tools that I'm using, helping you guys make those plays. So jump in today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll go over anything we miss, but I did get to Chris Paul on some of this Spurs and Rockets game. This is a rematch. Just had this game where the Spurs won by 3. They were up by about 20. Gave that lead away, and the Rockets almost came back. So I'm looking at a fade of Chris Paul here, under points, rebounds, and assists for the point god, because it was a much different game in the second half versus Houston last game than the first half. Paul had 7 assists in the first half and only 2 in the second, and he's only taking like 3 shots per game right now, so really not looking for the offense. But then in the second half, it was even less of his offense because Dillon Brooks took over on defense against him. They put a ton of ball pressure on Chris Paul as a team in general, and that obviously caused a lot more problems because if he's not running this team as a sort of squeaky clean engine, then they're not going to be as good on offense this season, especially without Trey Jones in there. He did have 12 rebound chances in game 1, pulled down 7 boards. Going to call that an anomaly. He did not have 12 rebound chances more than twice last season on the Warriors, and I don't expect him to be called upon to be rebounding. It's really just the ball needs to fall in his lap. So we'll feel a lot better about that this game, that he's not going to have 12 and 7 rebounds. He had 0 against Houston last game, and like I said, just 2 assists in the second half. I really, really believe that Houston figured out this Spurs squad in that second half. So this is one of my favorite bets of the day against a team that is really, really good at limiting point guards. And as we jump into Josh Hart, one more quick thing. If you do want all of the bets that I'm placing, head to the link that's in the description of the video. Got a nice season pass for you for the NBA kickoff here. 40% off for the season. If you want to go ahead and skip the monthly price, you can use the link that's in the description of the video to get all that. But Josh Hart for now, rebounds. He's questionable. We should start with that. It's possible he doesn't play, although it's Josh Hart, and I would assume most of the time he's going to try to play. So in the event he doesn't play, this is void. Not a big deal. 20 rebound chances last game. And this is going to be what we see from him, not what we saw in game 1 versus the Celtics, where they didn't miss a shot and he only had the 4 rebound chances and pulled down 4 boards on all of those chances. But I expect that to go up a lot. And I like this play against the Cavs because the Cavs are a very good team, good rebounding team, very good power forward and center rebounders in Allen and Mobley. But outside of that, Josh Hart's going to be the next best rebounder on the floor alongside Cat probably. And this is the type of player that does get a lot of rebounds against the Cavs. It's the athletic wing that comes in while the bigs are boxing each other out and battling. Then Hart and other guys like him come in and get those rebounds off of those sort of more open space that's around the basket because, you know, Cat and when he's in there, Jericho Sims are going to be battling down low a lot with Allen and Mobley. So if he's not, if Josh Hart's able to go in this one, I'm assuming he's going to be healthy enough to play and get the rebounds. This is my favorite bet for him. But if Josh Hart is not playing, I'm waiting on Miles McBride points prop lines because I don't have any lines for him yet. But this should equal a bit more Deuce McBride. There's a couple ways that Tibbs can play this, but he does not have the manpower to match up with Allen and Mobley. And to be fair, Allen and Mobley have been staggering their minutes a lot. So I do expect that to continue in a way that, you know, they're not going to be on the floor at the same time. You can have one of Cat and Jericho Sims on the floor, and then you're going to get a bit more Miles McBride for the points and the spacing, for sure. And by the way, his defense on the perimeter is very good, is very capable of guarding bigger players than him. It's Cam Payne that's probably going to lose minutes in this one so that they can bring in bigger bodies. But Miles has been really, really good this season. I'm sure we all know that after watching him have the 15-point game he had against the Pacers. And he's going to be matching up with Caris LeVert and Ty Jerome in the second unit. When he's in the rotation with the starters, I actually like it more because Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are even worse on defense than LeVert and Ty Jerome. But the usage is what I'm looking at for Miles. He's going to be an integral part of this offense this season, no matter what. Going to be a spark plug off the bench, but going to play plenty of minutes this season as well. He's already up to about 23 and a half, played 26 in the second game there, which wasn't a blowout. And he's averaging already, right, a bit more than 13 points per game. Last year, 8 points per game in 20 minutes, but those minutes are up to 24 now. I expect that to be around his floor. I don't think he's going to play much less than 22 minutes in a game if it's a close game. He's too important to the offense. So I'm going to be waiting for his points. Anything under 10 and a half is a definite slam spot. Even 10 and a half is a look that I'll probably consider an over for him. One more look from this Cavs-Knicks game. I'm fading Darius Garland. I think the assists are too high. They're not a great price, obviously. Minus 145 to go under 6.5 assists for him. He's had 5 assists on 12 potential last year versus the Knicks, and that was without Donovan Mitchell, should be clear. This season, he's averaging 9 potential assists per game. I just think 7 assists is way too high for someone that's averaging that amount, and will probably be right around there because Donovan Mitchell comes in and eats up into that usage. He has a ton of touches. He's just as likely to get assists as Darius Garland, although he's more likely to score than anything. But he's not scoring off of Darius Garland passing him the ball. And this Knicks team doesn't let you pass the ball around the perimeter very much. With Mitch Rob out, they're not really able to just play a funnel to the basket where maybe Garland runs by his guy and then is able to find shooters on the wing or lob it up to one of the bigs. I don't think that'll be there for him because they have to play contained defense on the perimeter without a legitimate down low stopper like Mitch Rob in there. This Knicks defense changes a lot and puts a lot more pressure on the ball, a lot more pressure on the guards and the spot up shooters as opposed to just the ball, which they're much more comfortable doing when they have a defensive anchor like Mitchell Robinson back there, and they don't have him yet. So DG under 6.5 assists is a look here. What's up with Tyrese Alberton? I don't know yet, but I know that the offense seems to be coming back around for him, at least in the way of the points. The assists are hilarious. We'll talk about that in a second, but he's getting a ton of value here with 16.5 points, and I really like this number. He's taken 18 shots in 2 of the 3 games. Only game he got blown out by the Knicks, didn't even play his normal amount of minutes, as we know. Last year versus Orlando, averaged 20 points per game against this team. He did have 2 big assist game, but we've talked about it already. Against Orlando, when you have a scoring point guard, or at least a dude that's ball dominant like Tyrese Alberton, you go for the points over the assists or the rebounds, that's for sure. I also like the fact that he's on no rest. He had really good numbers on no rest last year, and sort of the dude that is trying to keep everybody's pace up, even if they're a little bit tired, and is pushing things on no rest. So over 7 of 9 games that he played with 0 days rest last year, 22 points a game, almost 16 shot attempts. And that's what I like here. I think he's going to be back at 16 to 18 shot attempts, even though this is going to be a slower game than they might want it to be against the Magic. That's a really good number for him in terms of the field goal attempts projection. If he's going to take that many shots, I do like him to get 17. Had a nice game yesterday as they lost to Philly, but still put together a nice game and was very consistent throughout. The assists are hilarious because they're at 6.5, and I want to fade it. He's only averaging 3.7 assists per game this year and is at 9 potentials a game. So only 9 potential assists for this dude. 6.5, still a low number for a guy like Tyrese Alberton. But so far in this iteration of the Pacers, he's not the same dude in terms of the assists. And that's kind of been the case since we've seen Pascal come around. Also think we have a nice value spot on Jaylen Suggs under points here. He's going up against this Pacers squad, but they're very good at limiting spot ups. That's what they do. It's why we don't like assists for their point against them as well for point guards, right? So I'm not really looking at assists for anybody here, but Jaylen Suggs in the points is at 14.5. I think we're getting an overvalued line here because of the fact that he just had 21 points and he shot the ball 17 times against Memphis. With Paolo looking really bad, Franz, everybody really looked really bad in that Memphis game. And he was the only one that just kept firing, right? Just kept putting it up, didn't care, had a ton of throws, 5 for 13 from deep. He took 17 shots 1 time last year. So this is a total anomaly to me. I don't think this offense changed so much that Jaylen Suggs is that much bigger a part of the offense and that his usage is going to be anywhere near that, what it was last game. So, I mean, you look at the prior 2 games, 6 field goal attempts in both those games. That's not enough field goal attempts to get 14.5 points, even for a dude shooting a lot of threes. Pacers are a good 3-point defense. And because that's how he really needs to get his points in order to get over, I really like an under at 14.5 points for the man against Indy. Going back to Jordan Poole, but I think we got to go over on the assist this time. He's averaging 16 potential assists in the first 2 games. They're just not coming to fruition. It is possible that the Wizards are just so bad that he's not going to be able to get the assists because they won't make the shots that he passes them. So there is the possibility that that's the case consistently this season. But 16 potential assists, the averages dictate that has to get up to about 50% in terms of assists turning into potential assists turning into assists. And that has not been the case. It's actually more at like a 30% rate, even lower than that he's getting assists when he has potential assists. So I think that's going to turn around at least a little bit. You can't have that be the average all season. And this is a good sort of bounce back spot for his dimes against Atlanta on a back-to-back, 120 defensive rating last year when they played on no rest. Not that their defensive rating was much better when they weren't on no rest. It was just noticeably bad there. And they also allowed the 8th most assists to point guards. So they're very bad at limiting point guards in general. They did give up a lot of points to the position as well. Jordan Poole taking a ton of shots, If you wanted to do points and assists in a combo, I'm with that. But I think the assists are a good attack here. And this is a very high total where we do expect this to be around 235 to 240. I like an over on like 232, 233 and a half on this total. I still take an over on that one, and Poole should be very involved in the offense per usual. One more reminder about Outlier.bet. Do have a link in the description of the video if you want 7 free days to use this one-stop shop research tool for all your bets. This is what I'm using. You'll see it on the live show today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, if you show up as well. So check that out, 7 free days if you want to see if you're interested in making the purchase. Definitely show up today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Bring your bets. Jump in the comments. Let's get after it. And until I see y'all next, happy betting.